So welcome back to our second talk in our GTB track in the A4Q Testing Summit today. With me now is Horst Pohlmann, who is presenting on ISTQB ASPICE Testing Essentials. So Horst is a very active member of our board, of the German Testing Board. He has, among other things, been the vice chair of the German Testing Board for more than 10 years, and he still is. Horst has more than 30 years of professional experience in software quality management and assurance, and more than 15 years practical experience in automotive quality engineering, where he also is a principal assessor for Automotive SPICE. At ISTQB, he's the vice chair of the advanced and expert level working group, and also the product owner of the automotive software tester and advanced level test manager syllabus. So let's welcome Horst with his talk on ISTQB ASPICE. Good to have you here, Horst.
Okay, thanks, Florian, for your friendly introduction. Okay, my topic for the next 30 minutes are about best of both. On one side, ISTQB, on the other side, ASPICE. It also reflects my last 15 years of professional experience in my really profession. Okay. First, a short overview. I go in the introduction. After introduction, I introduce very shortly and very quick ASPICE and also ISTQB. Then I go to my core chapter, that is the ISTQB and also ASPICE testing concepts. What I want to introduce there is, if you look at one side on ISTQB and the other side on ASPICE, that is something what is complementary to each other. And that was my main message to show this from the skill point of view. And then last, we have one slide, a summary. Okay, starting with the picture, I think many will, this picture is well known in the community. Since 2017, it was at that point published in IEEE software. What here is the main message is, look not only on the time slice, look what happened in our automotive domain the last 15 years. The complexity is increasing and increasing. We are working more and more in distributed development. We follow the sun, we're working around the world. We have project teams. Some parts are project teams are in USA, some in India, some in China, some in Europe, and they're working closely together also in pandemic times. And what also is increasing in the last 5 years is liability risk like security, cyber security in automotive, and the functional safety since 10 years now. Okay, we want not to go into details because I know that many of you also know this picture. What is therefore ASPICE? SPICE stands for Software Process Improvement and Capability Determination. Before Automotive SPICE starts in 2006, there was a predecessor by this. In 2006, Automotive SPICE was launched, and SPICE was the technical report, and SPICE starts with this. On the one side, in SPICE, we have the topic of process improvement. On the other side, we have also the capability determination for each process. You have here an overview from the last published edition from ASPICE, with the extension for cybersecurity of 21. Cybersecurity extension, or the cybersecurity topic, is now also a topic of type approval in Europe, in Japan, I think, and also other parts of the world. And therefore, cybersecurity, what you see here in this area, is in this extension, is an important topic. So original without cybersecurity from ASPICE was in 2017. And the next version of ASPICE will coming up soon. It's the 4.0 that will coming up next year. Okay, we focus in the following slides not on fully ASPICE or Automotive SPICE, in the long term, a long name, we focus on the testing process of ASPICE. Therefore, only a subset of the process. Okay, what is fundamental in ASPICE, in this edition of ASPICE, or in 3.1, that each process receives a capability rating. That means you cannot transfer the capability level from one process to another process. For example, if your capability rating for the testing process is level 0, then you have really a problem with your customers, and therefore take care for each of these processes for the capability level. Next topic is, this is an extract from ASPICE PEM, and it shows on the one side what in the process assessment model, what is to be done, why it is to be done. And it is the what level, what I called it is a what level. And for the testing processes, ISTQB supports the how-to level. That means, how should this be done? And this is further explained in the next slides, but this slide is very important. On the one side, you have the demands from ASPICE, what should be done. On the other side, you have a lot of skills and know-how and other things, what you see in the competence from the guys from testing who does the testing. And this is the how-to level. If you look at this, this is the same picture. It's also very happy. On the one hand, you have the processes here, like the testing process for software testing, SWE6. On the other side, you have the tester qualification. And I've seen more than 10 years ago, or a long time ago, a company who has level 3 process capability processes on level 3, but poor trained and qualified testers, and they will not fit, this fit not together. What you need in practice to have this mature processes on the other side, also qualified testers. And this will also be shown in the next slide. This was from a master thesis, was I'm responsible for in my other role in the company. We have worked on this topic and how is this connected together. On the one side of this magic square, we call it magic square because we have processes, we have skills on the other side, we have methods on the tools. On the left-hand side, we have organization. And this is, we have identified strong correlation because in this case, organization takes care for the role-based training of the employees. And the skilled and employees work with suitable tools and methods by this qualified employees. And this quality will further develop the process with their process improvement suggestions. And this method and tools are well accepted, introduced in the project and supporting real the process. And what we do on the right side, we control and monitoring the processes, also combined within the organization, within the projects, see what happens, where's the room for improvement. And this is, we have this 4 cornerstones, processes, method, tools, and see how this works together. Okay, where is, we look now at the ISTQB side. That was in general in the ISB side. This graphical presentation was taken from the automotive software tester syllabi development, where I'm product owner for this. We have derived something from the 2626 ISO standard. We have derived something from the 29119. We have something derived from the first draft of the cybersecurity standard and also from the software reviews. All these things are arranged in a certain manner. As a result, we are influenced by this, and in the result, there will be as a result syllabi which has requirements, and also from the other side, the requirements to the processes. At the right was, on the one hand, it is a well-known foundation level syllabi for the also to use in the automotive branch or domain. And on the other side, we have a specialist module defined there in 2018. In 2018, approved by ISTQB, but in the 3 years before defined and developed. And this automotive software tester syllabi was an extension to the foundation level syllabi. We looked at all the test methods and techniques that are referenced in the method table from ISO 26262. At the end, if you cover both the foundation level syllabi from 2018 and also the aligned automotive software tester syllabi from 2018, you have then covered all testing methods that are referenced in the ISO 26262. Therefore, this is a good message, and how that is also an inner look, how does it work from development point of view of the syllabi. Okay, our next topic, that was key topic in this presentation. And in this presentation, we combine this together. On the one hand, the ISTQB, on the other hand, ASPICE. And we have defined a lot of key concepts here. We started with the glossary in the common language in the project. That is very important. As a beginning, I have the story that now the companies work in a certain project in companies and also in different areas. And it's very important that, for example, the testing terms have a common language worldwide, that we have also driven by the ISTQB Foundation syllabi, by the ISTQB glossary. There's their own web page for the ISTQB glossary that we have this. And the other is we have defined in the ISTQB standard testing principles. How is this correlated to ASPICE? Then we have in the past called fundamental test process. Now it's called test processes, but it's also a correlation to ASPICE test processes. And we have the project test strategy. This is demanded from ASPICE. We have it also yet and in the future in ISTQB. And we have selection of test techniques defined in ISTQB and used also as base practice in ASPICE. And we have static approaches like reviews and tool-supported static analysis, also compliant, defined in ISTQB, also to compliant in ASPICE. And we have the distribution of test activities based on risk testing principles defined in ISTQB, also according to ASPICE. And we have something like traceability, like goals, like test metrics, like test progress monitoring, like test reporting. That means we need the traceability and we need the test metrics. And by this, we define and arrange the test process monitoring, that we are able to monitoring automatically the test cases, the test specification, and all test work products. The output at the end, we are able to generate a test reporting from this. Okay, let's go into details of the testing key concepts. First, as already mentioned, was the glossary. The glossary provides the common testing terminology worldwide. And we have in ISTQB more than 1 million who takes the exam. Not all has passed the exam, but more than 1 million passed exams. Therefore, this common testing terminology is well known. Also, if you speak with other companies, if you speak with your customers, all know this glossary. We have something what is domain independent. That is characteristic of this glossar. But for example, for the automotive area, there was in the appendix of the syllabi the automotive specific terminology. And we have the localization of the glossary in a lot of various languages. Also in Korean, Chinese, Japanese, in German, and all these are also important in the automotive area. And we have linked to various standards, as already mentioned in some slides before. You see the connection, how the standards influence also the syllabi. Okay, that was the benefit of glossary and the common language as a base of understanding in the projects. We have not in the future discussing in project, in worldwide distributed project, the terminology. That's the most benefit here. Let's go to next. Next is the testing principles. We know from ISTQB the 7 testing principles, and what you see is also by a lot of examples, if you have qualified testers in a project, they know the principle of defect clustering. They have this in mind and acts in the managing of the testing processes as expected from them and takes this in account. Otherwise, they're running in a trap and do not act corresponding. Therefore, my assessment observation using these principles by a qualified tester leads to more major test processes. I see a difference between testers who are qualified and testers who are not qualified. That's the difference as my last 15 years of Automotive SPICE assessments. Okay, one example. Next, let's look to the fundamental test processes and look also to the ASPICE process. On the left side, we see again the ISTQB process, ISTQB test process. What you see is a picture which is developed after the CTFL syllabi. On the right side, you see the structure, what you have from ASPICE is from the ASPICE 3.3.1 from the PAN extracted, and here see the correlation. And if you want to describe each process, all specific of this process, you run in problems because the colleagues have problems to understand this, because somebody must maintain this process description and all specific goes inside. If you go another description, generate one generic description according to the ISTQB test process, then you have that for unit test, for software integration test specification, and also for the software qualification test, and also for the other both, and also for the cybersecurity process. That means that with the ISTQB qualification, the testers already knows this specific structure of the processes, and they have the knowledge in mind. How this is structured? What does it mean? Test closure activities. What does it mean? Test planning. What does it mean? Evaluating the exit criteria or definition of done. They know it from ISTQB side, and what you have then defined in the process description, in the small process description of the ASPICE side, is what is process specific. For example, the entry and exit criteria for unit tests are others than for software test. Therefore, this specific criteria must be defined. Therefore, we have one generic description for all, that is here the recommendation, for all testing processes, and also only the process specific are done in the appendix to this generic description, and this generic description is aligned with the ISTQB processes, and if the testers has a qualification from ISTQB side, they have no problem. They don't read the documentation if they recognize, okay, that is similar like the ISTQB test process. And that is already described in another presentation by me a lot of 14 years ago. Some follow this approach, others not. As I said, problem, some had not problems. but this is the experience behind this. Next topic. The next topic is the automotive project test strategy. Yes, we have on the left side, you see also generic requirements in ASPICE for the 5 test processes. We have here for mandatory expectation or demands, what is demanded from a test and expected from a test strategy. And this is not fulfilled. You see it on the right side. Then the corresponding test process is downrated. Qualified testers has no problem to understand what is the demand on the left side here on the test strategy in ASPICE. But the non-qualified testers have problem to understand what is the expectation, what are the assessors expect from us. It is not the assessors. It's here the guideline with defines it exactly since 5 years now. But on the other side, a lot of testers have problems, struggling with this requirement. We need them. We need in detail explain them what is the demand there, what are the requirements, what there should be done. But the difference is the qualified testers, no explanation necessary. The non-qualified testers have problems and they are struggling with these requirements. In the new test management advanced level syllabi, we have therefore also project test strategy chapter or chapter for this, and this also covered these topics. Okay, let's look at the next topic. We must march on because otherwise we are running out of time. Our next topic was selection of test techniques and approaches. We have a lot of criteria that is in ASPICE, a base practice. How looks your criteria for selection of test cases? And for the test cases, we have also test techniques, approaches, and local. And if you look, the qualification and experience of the testers are also a criteria for the selection of test techniques. If the customer demands that we should use some modeling-based testing, and the testers has no qualification for this, then we are running problems. And also the other points are mentioned here, regulatory requirements like the new cybersecurity testing standard and desired degree of automation. In my company, in our company, we have at least a degree of automation about 80% overall. That is the demand, and also the test batching. All these criteria are used for selection of this criteria. If you look in the foundation level syllabus, we have therefore a certain chapter for this selection of test techniques, and you will find also a lot of hints what should be done for this. In ASPICE, there is special demands to take care for this. Let's look at the next one. The next one is testing approaches. That means static testing about reviews and tool supporting static analysis. You see it. It was in former times. We have it in IEEE 1028. Now we have the ISO 20246. The syllabi from ISTQB 2018 is aligned with the ISO standard now since 4 years now. Well, yes, since 4 years now. And all the project what I taken care for are changed to this standards, and somebody who have who was already a qualified tester, he has seen this standard as a base or in the foundation level syllabi, therefore well known, no problem to handle this. What is not mentioned here, that is mentioned in the automotive software test syllabi, is also demanded from ASPICE. It's like something like MISRA standard, tool supported analysis, not mentioned here, only mentioned by me, you know, That is the other branch of static testing, full supporting static analysis. Okay, you see the correlation. We have the 20,246 is developed and published as final edition in 2017. This has begun to the foundation syllabus in 2018. There's a strong correlation between this now. Okay, let's look at the next one. The next one is distribution of the test activities according to ASPICE, based on the risk-based testing according to ISTQB. We have in ISTQB as a chapter, also in the foundation level syllabus, we learn a lot of risk-based testing. We have it also in test management. We have it in different terms, but it's also risk-based testing is a important topic in automotive, because we have then system critical parts, we have uncritical parts, and we have to distribute our test activities over the certain test levels, what we have already seen, from integration test, unit test verification, software test, system integration testing, system test, and so on. Over the years, the naming of the processes in ASPICE are changing, but the structure are always the same, the fundamental structure. And this is also from 2008, the main slide. I've now changed it, delete the acronyms there, but this is the same topic. And we use this also in practice to show if you have identified some critical parts on which test level, according to ASPICE, we have to test it. At least we have to show that we have no white places, that we must ensure that everything is tested on a certain level, or that nothing is left out. Therefore, it is taken from the risk evaluation in the system, put it down with the next part. Therefore, we have it already in the next. There was from the goals of a process to traceability to test matrix, test process, progress monitoring, and test reporting. Let's look what is traceability. Already explained in detail in the foundation level syllabi. It is something in ASPICE. It is bidirectional traceability called. You see here the details, and also here the details to the test reporting or the test report, the test results. From the test specification to the test results, that is additional in Automotive SPICE and also in Automotive Special, but the all is a basic of the concept, the key concept of traceability is already explained to the tester in foundation level syllabus. That is something what is generic there. And if you look in the automotive software testing, we use it also what is specific in automotive. What is here is one extract from the syllabi, explains the different traceability requirements from ASPICE from the testing perspective, and we combine this testing perspective. The solution here was that we have also what is already explained from the test specification to the test results. This should be recognized there. Okay. Then we go to the next topic. The next topic is that we have different kind of metrics, defect-based matrix, test case matrix, test object, and also cost-based matrix. This is in detail the different kind of matrix are explained in detail in the foundation level syllabi. We use it in practice, all this kind of matrix, also in automotive, makes a transfer from this, and from this metric, what we have learned there, this also, this classification, we use all of this, but with one difference. In our project, we have defined that all our metrics should be automatable, that we use no metric which are manual. That could not be done if the metric is manual. It must be generated by a tool and in the background enumerated something, and therefore we have a lot of effort to define this and to also to align this with the customer for the project and project overall in this. Okay, if you have the progress monitoring defined after the metrics, after traceability, because traceability and metrics is close together, we can derive from this test reporting. That is, after a certain test cycle, we have a test reporting, and this is also generating. The only what could not be generated is the evaluation by it is done manual. How to this results to be interpreted. Somebody must look at this and he must give an interpretation. But look at this, that is for use for test progress monitoring and also for the test completion report. Okay, I look at the time. I'm in my time. I'm something to hurry up. I'm in my time frame now. Go to my summary. If your customer demands at least ASPICE capability level 2 from you or from your project and from your testing process, you need qualified testers in your project. Otherwise, you have to qualify them in your project. Otherwise, you will fail in your project. Experience of more than 15 years in automotive quality engineering, this was my last 15 years, show that there is a strong correlation, that is my experience, between qualified testers and major test processes. You can also adapt this to other areas like risk-based, like risk management or requirements management, but that was not my topic here. I can only show some impression about testing and ASPICE, because that is my favorite topics here. But you can also transfer this to other disciplines like software architecture or software requirements engineering. Requirements engineering is also a fundamental discipline. ASPICE covered the what level, what you have seen, and ISTQB delivers for the what level the answers in the how-to by qualified testers. Therefore, the best of both combined together is more than one standalone. Okay, that's all for this half an hour, and there are some references what is not clear on each slide. Clear is the Automotive SPICE guidelines, Automotive SPICE for cybersecurity, what is some special there. Thank you very much, and I'm now open for your questions if you have some questions.
So first of all, thank you very much, Horst, for this interesting talk on test process improvement, especially in the automotive domain. And so what we would like to know, we have a question here. So what was your personal kind of motivation or your trigger to deal with these two worlds together with ISTQB?
My trigger was for this. Yes, my trigger was
intensively.
That I'm invited exactly 2 months before the Corona pandemic. I remember this in 2020 in another subsidiary, and the half of this 120 employees was already ISTQB certified, and the other half are not ISTQB certified. And they want from me an explanation. What happens in ISTQB? Please explain it to our team leads. There was the department leader, and he has 6 team leads, and I have to explain them what is behind this. What is behind ISTQB? What is the knowledge from ISTQB? What are the skills from ISTQB? What can we expect? They want to understand the story. One, they have seen a significant effect on the employees that are qualified after ISTQB, and the others are not qualified currently, but is planned to qualify, but they want to understand what happens with the other employees in the ISTQB certification training or in the qualification, in the training, and want to see before they send the others, it's planned, but please tell us what is background. And the key concept slides
So
was about 2.5 years ago, starting with the glossary, common, and all this. But I have in this case a whole morning to explain this. Now I have the same done in half an hour. I have introduced them, what happens with the glossary and the terms and details, and so. You can also the same topic do in all the details in several hours, and I've now try to done this in half an hour.
Okay, cool.
That
But
is
probably
the
not
difference.
less.
You can normally cannot run an essential course in half an hour. Therefore, give only an impression what are the headlines for this. And this is done original 2.5 years in a whole morning. Starting at 9, and it was lunch break at 12 o'clock.
Okay. So, but we should not go under 30 minutes, but stay with at least 30 minutes to this topic. So you have apparently a lot of experience with implementing both worlds or concepts together. Do you have like your two top or three top recommendations on how to such an implementation?
Yeah, if you want to follow this direction, one implementation is to use. We have ISTQB foundation level syllabi. We have also training for this. We have defined the ISTQB automotive software tester. If you put together both of this training, you have done a lot. The other way is do it from the other perspective. What is demand from automotive side, ISI, and at every point do this correlation. This is demand in automotive side, and this is provided in ISTQB. But for the second approach, that is very time consuming, also for somebody who is a trainer for this, and he needs the knowledge of both sides. Therefore, one approach is use the standard training, and the other approach is go in details with a consultant or somebody who has the knowledge on both sides, but that is very time consuming, very expensive, but then you have a solution for you as a customer who fits exactly for your demands, and the other is something what is out of the box and what is already there and can use it. Both approaches will work, but the coach approach is more expensive.
So one doesn't go without the other. It's a complementary approach, not to use.
Yeah, no, you can
both approaches.
Must decide how many budget you do have. And do you find some guy or some women who is able to build this connection? This is also a precondition. But the other point of view is do the standard trainings, and that is cheaper way, that is most effective. You can immediately start with this, or it is not waste of time, but the other approach is very time consuming, cost intensive, and so on. I've run both approaches the last years and see what the difference are.
So as a last question, Horst, so you about ASPICE, but if I see that correctly, we could omit the A here because all of these the transfer you did to ASPICE would also apply to SPICE in general, and maybe also to other SPICE flavors like MediSPICE or SPICE for Space or in other domains. Is that true? So could we also transfer your findings here or your recommendations to SPICE in general?
Yeah, over the year we have also in my company some things analyzed with MediSPICE. We have developed 10 years ago a medical product because it is very similar. This is only some processes, and also there is 85% is similar to Automotive SPICE, but Automotive SPICE has more coverage in the industry as MediSPICE, and therefore there is also in Germany and in the Automotive SPICE countries a big market. but you can also transfer something of this approach to what already mentioned, to software architecture or to requirements engineering. That is also possible.
Okay, great. So thank you very much, Horst. That was very interesting. So greetings to Germany. Have a good day. And here in our GTB track, we will continue in 18 minutes with our next talk from Armin Metzger. So stay tuned and see you in a bit. Bye, everybody. Bye, Horst.
Bye.